And we're live. Hey, I'm Ed Parco, one of the hosts. I'm here with Nate Benninger and Amy T. Meyer. Say hello, everybody.
Hey, good morning.
And we are the host of... I guess of Helping the Brave. Today's host, I should say, because we have other ones. They just, some show up on Thursday and some show up on Tuesday. Hey, Amy, I see that you're in DC.
That's right. Washington, D.C.
Oh, vacation?
No, I'm here for the Association of the United States Army, their annual conference, and I'm the state president for Washington State. So here
Don't
I
you
am.
have to be in the Army for that?
I was in the Army.
Okay, that's right. All right. Well, that's enough about us. Nate, I know where you are. You're in my office, so in Modesto. So let's bring in our guest today, Theresa. How you doing, Theresa? Goss.
Hey, what's up?
Everybody calls her TGo now. And we got the story. Good. Anybody else want to say hello to her? Come on.
Hello.
Hey. She's
all right, so
grandma.
All right. There you go. So I met Theresa at Secret Knock, and she was talking about on the state, and she was talking about stuff there. And she said she was a veteran, and I thought she would be good come on our show, tell her story, how she got to where she was, how other veterans can do the same thing if that's where they want to go. Does that work for you, Theresa?
Yep. Just throw me into the fire. I'm good.
All right. So I'm going to put you in the center stage there. There you go. And Nate, you look so much better. All right, so Theresa,
you guys
gotta have fun. All right, so TGo, tell us your story. You were in the Navy.
Yes.
Why the Navy? We always, and it's not like why the heck the Navy. It's just why. How did you pick the Navy? I mean, we had one person come on here. They went with the service because they gave them a steak dinner versus what the other place did. So.
Do you want me to tell you some, great, grand, beautiful, or do you just want me to tell you
the truth,
flat out the truth?
Okay. The truth.
Flat out the truth. I was raised in southern Chicago, south side of Chicago. And when I graduated high school some 40 years ago, oh my God, 40 years ago. When I graduated 40 years ago, my dad asked me what the heck was I going to do. And I had always planned on going into the Air Force Academy. That was my thing. I was going to go in the Air Force Academy, and I got accepted, and I'm like, yay. And I said, okay, let's go. Well, I didn't know that Air Force Academy was like regular college, and you had to wait until the semester started, and you had to be a part of a certain class. And they told me that, oh, well, you don't go till next year. And I'm like, huh? So a friend of mine was in the Navy, and I'm walking out the office of the Air Force, and the Navy recruiter said, hey, kid, come here, talk to me. And I was like, okay. And I went in and I sat down and talked with him. And he said I could leave in less than 60 days. And I did what I tell everybody do not do. If you guys don't remember anything from this interview, remember this. If you're going in the military, do not go in as a non-designated person. Because that's they're laughing at me. So I went in as a non-designated person. I was 17. I just knew I could get out of my parents' house in less than 60 days. So I'm going. And I went in as a non-designated person. Long story short, I end up in the Philippines for my first tour of duty. I was the second African-American female ever to be stationed there. The first one got off the step of the bus right in front of me. And when I was told I was going to the Philippines, I thought it was a ship because I'd never heard of it before, Chicago Public School. And the guy said, no, it's an island. I was like, an island of what? And they were like, oh, no, let me show you. He got a pointer out and he pointed it on the map. Yeah, back then they had maps that you pointed to. He pointed it on the map and the pointer, the little black tip, was bigger than the whole country of the Philippines. And I went, you've got to be kidding me. And it turned out to be the best thing in my life. It set my life on an amazing course. But as a non-designated seaman, I became a boat coxswain and an engineman for 8 boats and 6 boats and, get Marines off of islands and all that kind of good stuff and diving, we called it orange diving. You dive into the hull to patch it up so the boat don't sink when you're out there. And, the flag goes flying. Lowest ranked person gets to dive into the ocean and go get the flag back. So, yeah, that's how I got started. And then a year went by and I thought, hey, because a recruiter told me, come in the Navy. When it's time for you to go to the Air Force Academy, they'll just transfer you over. So I'm like, oh, the non-designated, I don't care what I have to do for a year. I can do anything for a year. And then the year was up and I was like, it's about that time. And then I got a letter from the Air Force Academy saying, oh, we just heard you joined the Navy. Did you know Air Force doesn't take prior Navy? Excuse me? Welcome to the Navy. You're stuck here. I'm like, very interesting. Thank you so much. So that's how I ended up in the Navy.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize back then, I don't know if they do it these days, but they'll just tell you what you want to hear to get you in. They don't really explain things properly, right? And I remember when I went, they were like, you could go and just be like a boatsman, mate, where you can do all the different jobs on a ship. It's like, yeah, I don't want to do that. Thank you. I want to be a corpsman. I want to be in the medical field. So if you don't have that, boom, I'm out of here. And my son, when he joined a couple years ago, the Army was the only one that would guarantee him a medic. So that's why he went in the Army. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
How long did you stay in the Navy then?
4 years, 3 months, 26 days, and 4.5 hours. But, who's counting?
Who's counting, right?
Well, that's right with me. 5 years, 5 months, and 14 days. Again, who was
She's
counting?
got you on the hours.
Yeah, I don't. Because I was done that night. So that would count it as that day. So.
Yeah, I got extended. My second tour of duty was in Virginia, long tour, and I got extended because I'm a computer geek. And I was assigned, non-designated seaman. I had messed up my knees in the Philippines, ended up with, now I have artificial knees on both knees. And they assigned me to travel pay in Virginia. We did the exciting work of, getting the paychecks out for people going on vacation. Yeah. Okay, whatever. So I'm doing that. And because I'm a computer geek and computer coder, I saw a bunch of stuff that they were doing that just took way too much time. So I recoded it and got permission and rewrote things and made it more efficient. And we went from 8 people in an office to 3. And then when my time was up, they were like, we don't have anybody who knows how to run this. So we're going to need to assign somebody, because we just knew you were going to re-up and that was going to be it. So we're going to need to assign somebody for you to teach them how to run this. And then you can go. And I went, no, my time's up. They said, did you read your contract? I'm like, apparently not. I'm doing friggin' travel pay, And they said, well, see, you signed up for 4 years of active duty. You got 2 more years that we can make active, or you could just wait until you, train somebody. So that's where the 3 months and 26 days and 4.5 hours comes from. Yeah, teaching people how to use computer systems to pay people for vacation. I'm not putting that on my resume.
But yeah, that's great for your business, though. You know what they do to pay people, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm one of those people that in business, I learned the hard way. You don't have to master everything that you do, but you do need to know how to do it. And so every job that's in my business, I know how to do one way or another. I will never get caught in that again. So yeah, you're right.
All right. So you said you graduated high school. So 36 years ago, when you transitioned out, I know they didn't have this amazing transition thing for you probably to go, okay, you're getting out. First of all, you're in the middle where, what are you going to do for the next, that week of transition? Did they help you at all to transition out of the Navy?
Are you kidding me? At the end of the day.
So that's a no.
End of the day,
I guess that's a no.
They said, go to the office. That's where the, 4.5 hours came in.
All right. Go do payroll for the next, and then you can get out.
Oh yeah.
Right. And so that's one of the, we'll get into more of your story, but one of the reasons we started this show was I had the same thing. There was nothing when I was transitioning out. They do have some stuff now, right? There are some really good things, weak things for certain people and certain designation of, retirees or this, upper echelon. But we don't have it for everybody. And that's one of the reasons we started this, was to get the word out, get the different silos together so everybody can talk about different things. PTSD, talk about how to transition right, how you can start a business, whatever that is a vet wants to do. After you take that uniform off, we're here for you. So how did you, when you transitioned out, what was the first thing you did?
Partied nonstop. You mean
for
after
work?
that?
I should have been more specific. For work.
Oh, you mean after that? I did all kinds of odd jobs because I thought I was going to come out being a computer programmer and just walk into a civilian job, and people went, no, you need something that like a civilian school has said that you know what you're doing, or you need to have worked for somebody in, you know, our world that says you know what you're doing before we're going to turn you loose on our computers. And I was like, oh. So I was homeless for a little while, shoveled poop in stalls, and so I could ride horses anytime I wanted. You know, as long as I cleaned the stalls, I could ride whenever I wanted. I was a short order cook. I lived in my car a couple of times. Yeah, had a blast. Started a painting business. It was the coolest thing ever. A guy said, hey, you want to come paint a room? You know, and I'll pay you. I'm like, sure. So it was just whitewashing apartments. And I said, how do you get these jobs? And he told me how to get it. So I became a subcontractor, and I created a painting business, and I hired 2 centerfold models to be my extra painters. And we had business cards that said, we do it on the long stroke. Yeah, we sold out nonstop. So that was my first like big, you know, business that I did after the Navy, was a painting business.
Amy, did you understand that?
Nope.
I know Nate was like, what?
No, I got it.
All right. So fast forward a little bit. The company you have now, you want to explain what you do?
The company we have now is Melrose 11 LLC. It's actually named after one of my business partners, my best friend, who we lost to breast cancer a couple of years ago. We changed our name. Her name was Melissa Rose, so we changed it to Melrose 11 because 11 was her favorite number. But we have been in production, television, and now film, television, streaming, all that good stuff for about 18 years. App development for the last 11 or so. I started doing web work in 1993. So it's all been media. We have digital print. We own a printing company. Anything media, we pretty much are doing. So that's what we're doing now.
So you said, you didn't say wet work, right?
Web work. Don't mess with me.
You're supposed to keep that stuff a secret. Jesus. Anyway, so you do podcasts, you do broadcasting of those, you do all the handling of that for people and editing and all that. Is that what you do? Because you said anything
that's
media.
One of the things. That's one of the divisions we do. We have a network out there. It's on Amazon Fire, Apple TV, Roku. We have our own internet hub, and we bring traditional video podcasts to broadcast. We bring them on to put on regular television, and also to put on streaming networks like Roku and Amazon Fire and Apple TV, and then we get them into other platforms. So that's what Pod Nation is. And then I have my own show called Expert Talk with TGo. I talk with experts from all over the world. I started that show in December of 2019, got it on 35 television markets, mainly through the South, and of course here in Vegas. And then COVID hit, and I thought, oh, just call the networks. I've been working with them for years. They'll understand. We'll be back when COVID's over. And they said, oh, no. So you've got 4 episodes up, so you can figure out how to get new content, or we're just going to air the same 4 episodes until COVID is over. So we moved everything into my house, and I became producer, director, host, editor, and water girl. And we've been doing it ever since. We're 183 episodes in now. And I have interviewed people from Wales to Hong Kong and all over the country. It's been absolutely amazing.
Who's your favorite type of person to work with? So do you like working with veterans? Do you like working with women, or?
You know, it really depends. There's always women veterans, you know, but I love talking with veterans. I love talking with women. We have a major event coming up with women next year. But I love talking with veterans that never thought they'd do anything technical. You know, they work with their hands. Maybe they were in medical back then or whatever, and they're a gunner's mate or something, because one of our business partners is a gunner's mate. And they never thought they'd do tech stuff. They never thought they'd do television and all of that. And I bring them in and say, okay, let's go. And I teach them how to do, you know, how to be your camera one, how to be a PA, production assistant, you know, how to work on a full film set, how to edit. You know, you want to learn sound? I teach you how to do sound, wherever it is you want to go. And then you can go to the next step, the next step, the next step. And it's really neat to watch them learn and then, you know, have something in their pocket that if they want to travel, because a lot of my veteran friends, we don't like sitting in one place too long. And if they want to travel, now they got the skill that, you know, they can go shoot a wedding if they want, or they can film a film or do a documentary, or literally walk on a set, of multi-camera set, and say, hey, do you need anybody? Do you need a grip? Do you need sound? Do you need any of that? And they go, you know how to do that? Yeah, no problem. And they can walk in off the street to do it. So I love doing that kind of stuff.
So we talked about how the veterans get from point A to point B. How did you go from painting houses to running a production company?
She hired 2 models.
Yeah. Yeah.
This time, old, bald veterans.
Yeah.
By the way,
You
I'm
know,
bald too.
I started my first business when I was 10. So entrepreneur is in my blood. My dad used to say all the time, rest his soul. You know, he says, I know everybody marches to a different drummer, but what damn band plays in your head? Because I'm always creating new stuff. And I wanted to create a digital magazine in 2004. I had never seen it done before. And I wanted to create a digital magazine that was focused on the African-American community. So we created Black Insight Magazine, the world's first all digital interactive magazine for African Americans. We reached over 1.8 million subscribers in less than 2 years. People were all over the place. It was before YouTube and Facebook and all of that. They were just going nuts because they could watch the Temptations or the Whispers or whatever perform on their computer, you know. And I went to a Christmas party that year. I hate Christmas network. I hate networking, period. But I went to a networking party, and this lady asked me, her name is Anna Maria Davis. She did Fools Rush In with Matthew Perry and Selma Hayek. Mm-hmm. And she said, what do you do? And I told her, she said, oh, honey, you're a producer. I said, no, I'm a computer geek that happens to have a magazine. And she said, you're a producer. Long story short, she spent the next year taking me back and forth to Hollywood 1 or 2 times a month for a year, sat me on major sets like, you know, Hitched with Will Smith and other big productions so I could learn the business I was in. And I went, holy crap, I'm a producer. And I started producing talk shows and literally hired my first crew out of the phone book. And it turned out that guy was an undercover detective during the day, and on weekends he shot television. And I'm like, oh, only I could do that. But yeah, that's how I got to television and film production. I was told at a Christmas party, that's what I do.
That's awesome.
Should we explain to the younger listeners and watchers what a phone book is?
Right.
Yeah, it's no, because they still make them. It's the yellow
They do.
looking thing
I
that
only
the
get them
mom
in like
throws down on the door to keep the door open when she's bringing in the groceries.
It's that thing that they throw on, the last thing they throw on your driveway or whatever, that's real thin now, and it's like, this is the phone book with nothing in it anymore.
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
Watch the movie Jerk. I'll tell you how important the phone book was at that time.
Yeah.
Oh, see, nobody else gets the joke of Jerk in the phone book. Watch the movie, you'll see. He finally makes it in the phone book. He's so happy. He is somebody.
Hey, I remember the first time I made it in the phone book. I was really happy.
But that was you. That was when you
1987.
made it. That was when you were out on your own, away from your family, and no longer a kid. You were an adult.
I remember that. White pages. Yep.
Now there's other ways to become an adult, I guess.
I hope not. Anyway.
So my favorite question to ask people is, you know, since serving in the military, and because, you know, obviously you've helped a lot of veterans along the way, and I think that's really great. Do you support nonprofits in your area, or what's your favorite nonprofit to support?
Yeah, we have a nonprofit here for veterans called Veterans Village. And it's ran by a guy named Arnie. I can't think of what Arnie's last name is right now because we always just call him Arnie. And he started by converting old Motel 6 type motels into veteran apartments about 15, 20 years ago. And now he has 7 buildings. He houses all kinds of veterans. But then when COVID hit, he created a food bank for veterans. And now they're serving thousands of people every day, twice a day. And they've been doing it now pretty much since March of last year. So we do a lot of support, whatever we can for Arnie, we're in. That's our main veterans organization. And then, of course, we're humongous in support of breast cancer. And my family has had issues on my other side, on my in-law side, with colon cancer. So we support all kinds of organizations that's attached to cancer in one way or another.
Very good. Thank you for that.
Yeah. That's kind of a loaded question. Do you support nonprofits?
Well,
all right, so
yeah. Come on.
No, I want to do my question. I was just messing with you. Move on.
All right.
But if you really want to say something, go ahead, Amy. I'm sorry. I don't want any more bad mail that I beat up on you and I'm not nice to you.
Well, no, I agree. Most people volunteer, but a lot of people don't realize that most people volunteer.
Right.
And so
I was talking about how you phrased the question, that if she was like, no, then she was a bad person. If she said,
yeah, if I went, no, I don't do that. What's wrong with you?
All right. So I always ask, what do you use today that you learned in the Navy? And I know now you definitely read contracts, but other than that, what did you learn? That was funny, wasn't it?
Yeah. Okay. Funny story. When I joined the Navy, they had a computer glitch on the day I reported in Orlando, and they ended up with 2 female companies at the same time, and it took them forever to get it processed. So we didn't get to our bunks until like 3 a.m. And then, of course, Reveille hits at like 5:30, and here comes our company commander, and she's yelling and screaming. And I was this like kind of cool kid that didn't put up with crap from the south side of Chicago. So when they came to me and said, get up, I'm like, are you kidding me? Get away from me, man. We've been in bed for like 2.5. She said, oh, did I wake you? I'm like, yeah, leave us alone. She's like, oh, okay. And she went away and then came back and flipped me out of that bunk. And I'm like, okay, maybe not. So I learned how to be on time like the first day. And being on time is like super important to me. And it's super important to a production, especially if you're doing a film. If you're late for your one little line, you could throw off a film by literally weeks of production. So for me, the first thing I learned that I still do today, oh yeah, you gotta, if you're on time, you're late. I'm sorry, I can't do it.
Right. The problem is today, the same scenario that you just talked about, they would bring you a cappuccino and then ask you to hurry up and get up to get out there and report, please. It's a totally different world. My son was in the Army, and what they talked about in boot camp, and what I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, okay. We won't touch that.
Yeah, move on. Yeah. That's what's wrong with this world.
That's just scary. It was better when we were, we got off work, we got drunk. I mean, I tell everybody, the military, you were protected by drunks, because if we weren't on duty, that's what we were doing. But now, cappuccino, I'd rather be protected by a drunk with a trigger finger than a cappuccino person that's worried about getting sunburned. I'm just saying.
True.
There went all our listeners.
So sorry. Hey, just telling the
truth. Nate, did you have anything?
No,
I'm just, because if not, I'm going to ask another question. I don't want to be rude.
Go ahead.
All right. So what you do now, right? All right. So I'm a veteran, and we talk about a lot of stuff with businesses and stuff. If I wanted to start a show and have it on a program that you do, how does that work? And how many markets would I be able to hit? And how hard is that to do these days?
It's not that hard. It really isn't. And it depends on how much money you want to spend. I tell people all the time, you have a production company in your pocket, you don't need me. You got a 4K camera on your iPhone or your Android or whatever it is that you're carrying today. Even that phone that you can get from AARP is a 4K camera on it. So you can actually start your show with your phone. you know, and then the first thing you do is buy a little mic from Amazon for $20, and then maybe you get a light for 35, and you just grow and organically grow that way. If you're ready to really explode and explode off the map, then it depends on how much you want to invest in your show and how big you really want to be. We are now coming up on going back on regular television. We're on hiatus right now with my show. We're going back on regular television next month in Vegas. And then in January, we're going to be on regular television from San Diego to Phoenix. So we'll be available in 17 million households and average about 1 million viewers a week. So, but that just determines, you know, you got to say, hey, how much do I want to invest in my show? You know, if you want to still hit that market and still do your show yourself, then you contact me, we talk, and I put you on my show, and then you just hit my market. So there's always ways around it. But yeah, it just depends on your budget and what you want to do.
Amy, you have that look on your face like, I can start something.
Always, I can start something. I guess so. You talked about the first online magazine for African American. Do you have any other niche markets that you have had some really great results in?
We've had really great results in the African American market, really great results in the market for women. Entrepreneurs in general, you know, I've been working with entrepreneurs in general for, you know, since I was 10 years old. So definitely in that market, and everything that we do, we try to connect that, because like I said before we even started today, our whole company is not only veteran based, but we're Navy based. So we're always trying to figure out how we can either, you know, donate or support or volunteer or bring somebody in to what we're doing. So veteran is like the foundation, and then we grow it from there.
All right. Are you a part of any, I know you talked about the Veteran Village, and I think that's exceptional. Are there any other veteran service organizations that you align with or don't align with?
No, not for me. My business partner, Ann, is in a few other organizations. But for me, I am, you know, the super creative that's working from 7 to 3 in the morning, you know, 7 a.m. to 3 in the morning. And for me, getting me out, especially with COVID, like, I don't think I've been out since, what is today? Wednesday, Tuesday? I think I was out on Saturday. I don't go out much anymore. It's like I'm constantly just working right in my domicile. We're actually opening our podcast studio back up next month, and I'm going to have to go into the office for the first time in almost 2 years. I'm about to break out in the hives just thinking about it.
And see, I love being in the office because everybody else is at home.
Me too. Like, all my passwords were, it's just me here. I love it.
Now everybody knows their password.
They don't. They have to change.
What's your login for your bank account? I know your password. What's your login? All right. So looking back, and you're like me, it's a long look back. Would you change
Did he just call me old?
No, I said like me. I said just like me. I did not just say you. I said like me.
I was from the south side of Chicago. We couldn't find you. You know that, right?
Yeah, I'm in Modesto, California. Yeah, I can give you my phone number and address. You can come find me anytime.
Yeah,
and I'll be in Vegas on the 28th. So I'll come see you or something. The 27th.
Awesome. We're actually in the studio on the 28th. But go ahead.
All right. Looking back, would you have changed anything, even going in as undesignated? Would there's anything you would have changed? Because everything created where you are now, right? So was there anything you would look back and change?
You know, there's a show that just started on NBC called Ordinary Joe, and I started watching that. And it's all about, you know, if he had taken one path or the other, what would have happened in his life? And I've always looked back and said, if I had done this and not that, if I had made this step or that step, you know, but then I look at the people, you know, my grandsons wouldn't even be here if I had changed my path in any way. So there's no way, no matter how rough it was, and at some points it was really rough, you know, I mean, I've had my moments where I didn't even want to be here the next day and plotted on how I was not going to be here. But I wouldn't have changed a thing because it made me who I am today. And it's amazing, this stuff, you know, the vision ahead is amazing right now. So no, I wouldn't change a thing.
One more thing. All right. So you
Yeah.
just said you plotted not to be here. What stopped you from staying here and keep going?
Funny story,
All
not
right. So
funny,
you
but
you brought it up. I
I
and
know,
it's
and I've
important
only
because there's
told this
20.
story.
Let me just want because there's 22 veteran of us that die
Mhm.
every day
Yeah,
by their own hand, right?
yeah,
And the
yeah.
number that is ridiculous amount of people would die. More people died this way this year than any other. So the question is, what stopped you? So that was my question.
So what stopped me was I had a business. This was 1995, and my business partner basically ripped me off and took all my money. And I was like, that's it. I'm out. I've done everything else. I'm not starting over again. So I planned on exactly how I was going to do this. I put everything in place, and I found myself sitting, waiting for sunset, at a library parking lot over on Boulder Highway here in Las Vegas, and something told me to go inside. I'm dyslexic. So the only time I go in a library is to ask where the restroom is or like to pick somebody up. Okay. I'm not renting anybody's book. I listen to everything. So I was like, something told me to go inside. So I went in and I saw this lady, the librarian, I guess she is. And I walked up to her and she said, honey, what is wrong with you? And I said, I don't know, but I don't want to do this. And I just need something better. And she said, go over there, honey, go over there on that wall. You'll find motivational stuff. And I said, what the heck is that? She said, oh, those are people that you listen to them, they make you feel better. She said, it's almost like going to church, but you don't have to listen to religious stuff. Well, maybe go over there. And I'm like, okay. So I went over and I saw Les Brown, Rita Davenport, and Zig Ziglar. And I said, okay. And there were tapes because I told her I'm dyslexic. I don't read it. And there were tapes. And she said, then you bring it back here. I'll give you headphones and you sit right there and put it in the tape deck. Yes, tape deck. That's how long this was. And I started listening. And Zig
But not
Ziglar
A-track.
Not 8-track, but 8-tracks are cool. I still have some. And I turned on Zig Ziglar and he said, I have brought for you a brand new pair of glasses. And I went, huh? And I sat there and I listened until they were ready to close. And I went up to her and I said, I got to have this. And she said, give me your library card. I didn't have one. And she said, well, I've never done this, but you need this, I think. So I'm going to rent them out on my card. You just make sure you bring this back in 30 days. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So I go out in the parking lot in my 1979 green Mustang that could go no higher than 54 miles an hour without doing this. And I sat out there and I put those tapes in and I sat there until I ran out of gas all night long, listening to Les Brown, Zig Ziglar, and Rita Davenport. And Rita Davenport became a friend of mine. I just interviewed Tom Ziegler, which was a dream come true, just a couple of days ago. And I'm interviewing Les Brown coming up very soon. But that's I credit them all the time. I have for over 20 years for saving my life because they made me see that no matter how dark it got, as Les Brown would say, if you can look up, you can get up. And I went, oh yeah, okay. I'm still here. So the fight's still in me. So that's what it did.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of people, they're at that point and they don't know what to do and they're looking for someone to help them. And, we'll do the three of us over here and you, I'm sure you too, we'll do whatever we can for anybody, especially a veteran. You need help.
Yeah.
We're here for you. Whatever that is, my cell number is 209-404-1915. Call me anytime if you need anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
My phone number is on my Facebook page, everything. I'm very available. I can get coffee anywhere at any time.
Same.
Yeah. And remember, if you can look up, you can get up.
Right. Theresa TGo. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate you sharing your story and letting us come and get to know you more. And thank you so much for agreeing to be on here. I know you're a busy person. So.
Oh no, I love this, man. And it was amazing. And, usually I'm like, well, what do we, I wonder what we're going to talk about. Is it live? Is it not? You said what it's the title of the show. And I went, just tell me when to show up, and I feel that way from now on. If you guys need me, I'm here. Just tell me when and where to show up.
Don't worry. You will be contacted and not for wet work.
But we may do it on the long stroke.
That's right. All right. And I want to thank everybody for being here today. If you like what we do, just as I always say, just follow us. Nate, thanks for being here. Amy, thanks for being here. TGo, again, it was really great to get to know you. And again, we'll be here on Thursday at 3:30 Pacific, and we'll talk to you on Thursday. All right. Bye.